Twice, the Targaryens tried to conquer Dorne with soldiers. Twice, they failed. Only when the Dragon Kings came bearing husbands and wives did my ancestors relent and agree to join their 7 kingdoms. House Martell could have waged war until the end of days. But how could we resist a peace we could take to bed? For centuries, the Iron Throne had no more loyal ally than the princes of Dorne. Since we had never fallen to them, we kept our ancestral title. Perhaps this is what drew Rhaegar Targaryen to us. His royal parents had not produced a sister for him to wed, so he had to look elsewhere for a princess. And there was only one in Westeros, Elia of House Martell, my sister. She was not the most beautiful woman in the world or even in Dorne, but rare for a woman from our land, her flower came with no thorns. She was kind and clever, with a gentle heart. I loved her. I feared for her. For years I fended off lesser men from her. But when Rhaegar came, even I failed. He was beautiful and the crowned prince of the 7 kingdoms, and our mother had worked so hard to secure the match, how could Elia not accept him? They were wed, and he took her from her home, from those who loved her and would die for her, and locked her in his red keep above his sty of a city surrounded by false friends. She bore him a daughter and a son, though each almost cost her her life. Elia loved Rhaegar. She obeyed him, and he chose to steal away Lyanna Stark, a pale northern girl whose veins ran with ice like all her people. Instead of disciplining his faithless son, King Aerys executed the Starks when they came seeking justice, and ignited a revolt. I know how the Maesters describe the war now, but calling it Robert's Rebellion does not change what it was. The War of the Usurper. Dorne sided with the Crown, for when we swear oaths, we keep them. We needed no threats from King Aerys, though he made them anyway, locking Elia and her children in the Red Keep to ensure our loyalty. Even in his madness, he knew that no true Dornishman would ever take up arms against our beloved princess, and that we would fight to the death for whichever side she was on. At the Trident, Dorne lost 10,000 men and 2 princes, my uncle in the King's Guard and Elia's gallant husband, Prince Rhaegar, who was too slow or too arrogant for Robert's war hammer. As Robert's army marched on King's Landing, the Mad King sent his own wife and child away, but kept my sister and hers inside. In his madness, Aerys thought that the Dornish had betrayed his son at the Trident, and was only too happy to welcome his one true friend back into his ranks, Tywin Lannister. Lord Tywin's army sacked his friend's city while Lord Tywin's son murdered the king he'd sworn to protect. All this could have been forgiven. War is terrible, and men must become terrible to wage it. But the Lannisters knew that as long as my sister and her children, Prince Rhaegar's heirs, lived, no usurper could safely sit the throne. So Lord Tywin's dog, Sir Gregor Clegane, the Mountain, made Elia watch as he murdered her daughter and dashed her infant son's head against a wall. Then, with her baby's blood still on his hands, he raped my sister and murdered her. When Lord Tywin later presented their bodies to Robert Baratheon wrapped in pretty Lannister cloaks, I have been told the red color graciously hid the blood from men's eyes. The Targaryens talk of fire and blood. In Dorne, our blood is fire. If Robert Baratheon had dared set foot in Dorne during his reign, he would have lost the foot, and it is not even him we blame for Elia. The Lannisters think their gold buys them power. The Lannisters think their mountain buys them strength. But if they want peace, they cannot buy it with mountains of gold or one mountain of steel. They must pay in blood.